So, as you know, sin can be messy, and coming out of it can be even messier. So, remember God's people, the Israelites, they were taking on the practice of the people around them. They were marrying into the world, which made a mess. And then, so Ezra, he wept and he confessed their sins, the sins of the people, as if it was him. And so while Ezra was praying and confessing and weeping and throwing himself down before the house of God, a large crowd of Israelites men, they gathered around him and they wept bitterly with him, because they too were broken about the sin. And so one man speaks up, and then the people confessed and they repented. And then we got to see the effectiveness of how Ezra's prayer and heartfelt confession worked out. And he didn't charge the people or threw a guilt trip on them. He was just brokenhearted for them all. And this prayer was directed to God, who cared for his people, and he loved his people. And so this is an example for us, for me, for you, for us, and how there will be times when God calls on us to be his messenger and to talk to someone about their sin. And that's not easy. To bring them to repent. And that's not an easy task. And generally is not appreciated. I know. Because not only I probably hurt people who tried to do that too. God forgive me, and I'm sorry too if you're watching. Most likely I apologize to them though. Someone has to talk to them though. And that doesn't mean that we have to bash them over the head with their sin. So Ezra, he showed us that sometimes the most effective way to bring conviction is through connection. Yeah, because without connection, it is going to feel like you're badgering the person. And that doesn't mean that it's always going to work, because even when you have connection, sometimes that doesn't work. But it worked for Ezra. And so Ezra didn't try to separate himself and point the finger. He shed tears for the people. He confessed their sin as if he was involved in that sin. And Ezra confessed, and it led to the people's conviction. And that's not the only way to deal with it. But it worked for Ezra. It was the right way for Ezra. And so the people repented, and they made a plan to action. So they committed to change. They committed to grow and put away their wives. And then they took note, and they did according to the law, God's law. So now, God's law was making provision for those who were getting divorced and putting away the wives and whatever, and not just leave the wives like that. He made provision because God cares for both parties. Remember that. That was something I had to learn on this journey. So Ezra got up and he called a gathering of all the Israelites in the land, and he charged them with their sin.